In 1919, he hit 29 home runs and was sold to the New York Yankees.
A three-run home run for Buffington. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Bill Lee is now going over to a couple of the Yankees, and there they go again.
Ball hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series.
Varitek and A-Rod going at it. Roberts is going. Posada's throw. Roberts safe.
What can I say? Just tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddies.
Welcome to episode 74 of Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. I'm Brian Shackman along with John Senecal. Hi, how are you?
What's up, Brian? How are you?
In life, I'm fine. As a sports fan,
I thought you were angry today.
I am angry, but it's not
so you're
necessarily.
lying. Don't lie. Tell us how angry you are.
It's not all Red Sox related, but the theme of the show basically today, and we'll be short, sweet, and tight and good. Are the Yankees that good, and are the Red Sox that bad? And I will start with the Yankees, and you just tell me, are they this good?
Well, if Judge keeps playing up to his walk-year contract, yeah, and it's Stanton's playing in the field the 3 or 4 days a week that they wanted him to play, like the plan all along. There's still a few guys that aren't hitting, but the key guys are putting the bat on the ball, and defensively they've been good. The pitching has been great. The bullpen has been lights out. You look back at like the last time they won, 2009. They had similar. They had great bullpen. Phil Hughes in the middle. Michael King now in the middle. They've got a great team. It's just a matter.
When was the last time they won again?
2009.
Okay, 2009. Who were the stars on that team?
Teixeira, Sabathia.
Okay.
Jeets.
Jeets was still there.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
But, that said, again, it all comes down to health. And right now, the players are healthy. Gallo disappeared, which is good. I don't know if he has a groin injury or a groin injury.
Or as you joke with Matt Soroy's on text, this is the beginning of the phase out of Joey Gallo?
I would hope so. I'm his least supporter. But, who knows? Maybe he wasn't vaxxed. Maybe Andujar wasn't vaxxed. Everyone kept saying there's 2 people that weren't vaxxed on the Yankees.
Right.
We know it's not Judge. We know it's not Rizzo now because they're in Canada.
Right.
So, could it have been Gallo? Who knows? But, they don't miss him, I guess is what I'm saying. We know that.
So here's what I would say. I think they're that good, but are they World Series good? I don't know. I believe.
If you look around the league now, yes, they are World Series good because the typical players aren't doing what they should be doing.
But who are the guys on the roster who've actually won anything? Just Rizzo. Who else has won anything?
No, nobody.
Nothing. And listen, just because you haven't won something doesn't mean you're not a winner.
But some of them have been there, at least. They've been far. They haven't been to the World Series, but, 7th game against the Astros.
I just don't have a lot of faith in that part of the equation. And then I'll just be proven wrong. But outside of I don't know any of these guys how they're going to be when they have to be great
on the Yankees roster.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you got Donaldson. He's been around the block. These guys have been around the block. It's not like they're just rookies with deer in the headlight look. They're not the Detroit Tigers with a bunch of rookies or the Orioles. So I'm not so much worried about that. They're ball players. It's just a matter of these guys staying healthy. If they're in a good position, they'll go out and get the pieces they need. Listen, they still do have holes, right? Aaron Hicks as a switch hitter is not doing what you need him to do. We all know Gallo sucks. Somebody will get hurt. It's inevitable.
Yep.
You hope they don't, but somebody is probably going to get hurt.
Yep.
A pitcher's going to go down. Somebody, I was talking to my son this morning, and I'm like, all the good teams go through a down spurt. And he's like, well, not necessarily. I was like, well, look at last year. Chapman was lights out for the Yankees the first to July, and then he couldn't get out of his own way for months.
Well, you know how I feel about him.
So, it's all about staying healthy. If the Yankees stay healthy, the pieces are there.
Okay, so the short answer is they are this good.
I think they are. And again, listen, we talked in the last episode about how you finish April, right? And they're in good position after the first few 20 or so games of the season.
Just do the math 30. On any day. For the Red Sox to get to 90 wins, they have to be really good. It's amazing to talk about a 162-game season and 30 games in or 25 games in, you can already say that, this will be a huge.
You got a lot of clawing to do if you're out 7 or 8 games after a month.
Oh my gosh! And so then we transition to the question, and I'll start with you two. Are the Red Sox this bad?
Listen, I don't obviously follow the Red Sox as closely as you do, but when they're not being talked about at all, things aren't good. It's not. Listen, you're not at the shopping cart stage yet, obviously, but there's no buzz about the team at all. There isn't.
Because they're not that interesting a team. And what I would say, and you now have Xander maybe in a walk year, who's not a personality guy anyway. JD Martinez, I mean, he might as well be the Grinch. I mean, he just doesn't have a personality that exudes to fans. And Trevor Story, Devers is the only one that generates some excitement, but they're just not winning. For me, the whole data focus stuff bothers me when they don't re-sign Kyle Schwarber and they're the worst production at first base in Major League Baseball. Now, I love Bobby Dahlbeck. I want him to be good, but maybe he's a 4A guy.
Yeah, he's maybe like Hishigawa. Like he had good spring and once the meat's on the bone in the regular season, you're just not performing.
And same with Jackie Bradley. I love the guy. I do. I think he's a good human being. I think he's a great outfielder. But how can you have?
Are you going to win with them?
No. I don't think you can unless everyone else is phenomenal. And the core. I mean, listen, Xander has had a great start. JD's been fine, and Devers has been pretty good. Those are three, okay? But Story's been nowhere. I don't think Verdugo is a guy you can rely on anyone to be that special because I just don't think he's that player.
Right.
I think I think you've seen his ceiling.
Right.
I don't think he gets better. Right? And all the fears I had about Story outside of Colorado seem to be true. And that's before we even get to the pitching. So do I think that their Baltimore Orioles battle it out for the basement bad? I don't. But they're definitely fourth place. Like, I think in the standings, they're where they deserve to be. The record isn't – it should be better.
Right.
But the Blue Jays are better. The Yankees are better. And Tampa just will be better just because they have guys you've never heard of that will play well because that's just who they are.
Yeah, yeah. And you can look at all the schedule all you want and say, the Yankees had an easier schedule, the Red Sox had a little harder schedule. But listen, you still got to win the games you play.
I don't buy that either.
I don't put a lot of stock in that because they're all going to come around. You're all going to play the same teams. And it's just like look at no one thought the Angels are going to be that good, right? But they got Taylor Ward or Tyler Ward? Like these guys that are just and Trout's being Trout again. So
for now until he
for
gets
now,
hurt.
But they got a little bit extra right now. So you wonder if they're going to keep that ball rolling. Who knows? It's interesting. The divisions aren't really shaping up the way everyone thought they would, except for the AL East.
Let me ask you real quick. You talked about the ball rolling. Can I digress for a quick second? All this garbage about the baseball. What do you believe? I mean, the power numbers are
that it was humidored and that it was down. It was
I don't know
wound
that
right.
The baseballs are bad, or I don't know.
Well, I don't get why. Listen, why would you have the baseballs bad in a year where everybody thinks you're a bunch of jerk offs for back and forth? I would think you'd want more home runs. You would want the ball flying out of the park again, like it was back in 1995 or 96,
but
97, 98 after the strike.
Do you think there's anything to it?
I
or is it
don't know.
just these guys being babies?
Listen, the pitchers are complaining because they say that the balls aren't sticky enough, and not one ever ball is the same. Have you ever watched how a Major League Baseball is made? Have you ever went on YouTube and watched that? I mean, there's like a zillion components to this little thing, and like, how could it possibly be the same every time? You're talking about stitching and leather and all that, and like, I don't know how they beat the cow or whatever they do, but how are you going to make that the same every single time? I don't think it's possible. I really don't. So until they figure out a way, like, we can weave. I read something else where in Japan they actually have a substance in the. They don't use like a leather; it's a synthetic, and it's actually a sticky substance built into the leather or something like that of the ball. So they don't have that problem in Japan. So I guess they might explore that. But for pitchers to think that every ball is going to be the same, I guess what I'm saying, Brian, I think you're crazy, right? You can't. Like it's a zillion little things. How are you going to make that perfect?
Yeah, but if there's enough people that talk about it, like there are certain years where they don't talk about it. There's certain patterns that come up over time where there can be some. I agree with you that there isn't. It's like a snowflakey kind of thing, right? But at the same time, like they can have the general attributes that are similar. And they're. I don't know what my opinion is.
I just think it's crazy that they wouldn't be juicing the balls to get the balls flying out of the park
because they want home runs. So
I
they
would
can make
think you'd
people
want
happy.
to. I mean, if you go to the ball game, what do you want to see? You don't want to. Honestly, you don't want to see a no hitter with nothing happening. Really, at the end, you're like, "Oh, great, I saw a no hitter," but you don't walk into the ballpark being like, "Boy, I hope I see a no hitter today."
I got to tell you, I would rather see a single stolen base, double scores a run, a walk, a double scores 1 run, second and third, single scores 2.
Old school baseball.
Then a grand slam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I want to see a home run if I go to a game.
Right. I agree with that. But my point is that I want to see the ball in play.
Yeah.
I want to see action. I want to see plays made. Ever since that
Theo
Epstein thing, I've been thinking about it all
the
time.
It makes total sense. I mean, but that again is going to take time for that to show and develop.
He's John Senecal. I'm Brian Shackman. This is episode 74 of Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. I want to rip through two people really quickly before we say goodbye. Robinson Cano, DFA'd by the Mets. They owe him 40-something million. Do you think?
He said what? Brody Van? What's his last name? Van Werman,
the GM
that was the agent.
Yeah.
Became the GM.
Yeah.
I guess someone put a thing online that said Steve Cohen sent him a bill for $40 million.
Right. But Steve Cohen doesn't care.
He doesn't care. But talk about you shouldn't be going to be a agent and then the GM and then sign the same player. I don't know. It seems a little sketchy.
It is a little weird. But the question is his career over?
I would think so. I mean, listen, what's he like a two-time repeater, right?
Like
3-time you're out.
Like right now, you can't even take cold medicine.
Right, third time you're out, I believe, right? Your third time you're gone.
And he's the closest active hitter to 3,000.
We talked about that last episode, right? He's like 2,600 hits, something like that. So he should be basically going for 3,000 hits this season, right around it, if he hadn't have been suspended and
arguably,
COVID.
He wouldn't have been close had he not done. He could have been doing PEDs since he was 17.
Probably.
Yeah,
and he's probably 45 years old, and we don't know it. But listen, if the dude, he's left-handed, and there's DH in both leagues. So
there could be a job for him.
There's a very good chance he's going to land somewhere to play. I mean, he could still hit. Robinson Cano can still hit a baseball. I still miss him making that play behind second base of the Yankees. He just grabbed it behind second base, just fling it without looking.
And I like his swing too. I've always liked his swing.
He had a great, I think it was with the Yankees 9 seasons. I think
he had a good run.
He had a good run with the Yankees. And you know what? Looking back now, I thought they were crazy for cutting him loose, but man, they won that one.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The other one I did not want to talk about, but you did.
Oh, Bauer.
Yeah. So, I mean, what about, they're using him as an example.
I really think that's the case. I mean, listen, who's been more outspoken against Major League Baseball in the last 3 seasons than Trevor Bauer? Really nobody. He was the one that was pushing about the whole spin rate and the spider tack and all that. He was calling BS on that all along. He was calling BS on their whole investigation on the Astros. And then he goes and throws the ball out of the stadium. He gets kicked off of basically 2 different teams. Nobody wants him. I mean, the guy's kind of been a mess his whole career. He's been a guy who's supposedly a Cy Young caliber player who's that good, has bounced on from Arizona to Cleveland to Cincinnati. He's a cancer.
So they just want him. So you're saying that
they Canseco'd him.
Well, but the thing is that, I think they also are trying to take a stand against.
They're taking a stand against that, which is going to send a crazy message to the NFL, I would hope, but they don't give a shit. I can't believe I just said that. That's the first time I've sworn on this.
I think it is.
That is the first time.
Ding, ding,
Mark
ding.
That is
Matt
the first time
I think the money was on me.
74 episodes it took me. And it took an NFL comment. I don't even watch the NFL.
I know. What's funny
is
that
I wasted it on
we were
that.
just talking off air yesterday with some TIC folks, my day job, about how the FCC, I don't think, regulates this anyway.
They must not, because you can say anything on TV now. Have you ever
right.
watched Tosh.0? Oh my God!
But if I say if I say suck on the radio, I think I'm in trouble.
Well, yeah, by the court of public opinion.
No, I think that it can be.
Oh, really?
I think so. There's certain words, or maybe it's ass. That everyone says it, but if you say it on the radio, you can get written up, and then you can get a couple $100,000 in fines.
Oh, that's not good. Good thing we're not on the radio. Well, let's get back to Trevor Bauer, all right?
Let's not. Let's listen. The stuff of violence against women. Thing is, he didn't get in trouble with the police, and the thing is, what you do in your bedroom is your own business, as long as you don't hurt people. And it's consensual.
I think they think he was bad for baseball. Period. He does stupid stuff. He does the stupid jitter, the stupid sword thing. There's no place for that. Listen, you got a bat, you got a glove. Pound your glove. Do something with the bat. Unless you're not rowing the boat, that's lame. Flip the bat, fine. All right, go on. You don't need to take selfies. You don't need to holster your sword. I see that in youth baseball. It's annoying.
But you're painting him as a victim then.
Him?
Yes.
No.
Okay, it sounds like you think that he's being unfairly targeted.
No,
by Major League Baseball.
I think he sucked for baseball. I think he was outspoken. I think he thought he was better than he was, and I think he thought he was above the law. And I think if he's going to fight Major League Baseball, he's not going to win. A-Rod didn't win. If anybody was going to beat Major League Baseball, it was going to be A-Rod. I mean, there was a lot more smoke for A-Rod. There's just a lot of like so-called speculation, no police report or whatever. But I know, Trevor Bauer's a jerk. I'm glad he's gone or he's gonna be gone. So he probably never play again either.
Because when you say Canseco, I'll just say
you know
this
what
last
he can
point.
do? He can throw pitches to Cano on YouTube.
Okay. What I was going to say is that, Canseco was on the right side of history, right? Because
he was
so
on the
let me
forefront
finish.
of it.
Let me finish. And so he was the one, just because he didn't have credibility doesn't mean he wasn't telling the truth, and that's what we learned. So I look at Canseco as somebody who was sort of unfairly treated by the game. So the comparison for me is where I went, but you're actually not defending Bauer. You're just like explaining how he's viewed, and you say good riddance.
Good riddance. And I think Major League Baseball thinks the same. They don't need him. Like, does Major League Baseball need Trevor Bauer?
Absolutely
no,
not.
Trevor Bauer needs Major League Baseball, period.
But there's a ton of guys just like that, though.
Right, but Trevor Bauer does have talent, but he's going to be a YouTube star now.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
The last thing I wanted to do, we didn't get to, because, with the Angels and Ohtani in this week, and Ohtani nursing an injury.
He's not going to play?
TBD.
TBD.
He is one, and we'll do it in just 30 seconds each. I would pay to see him.
Yeah.
And there's really I can't think of many, if any, others who I would pay to see. I wouldn't pay to see Mike Trout. I mean, he's a good baseball player. I wouldn't pay to see Aaron Judge. Like, who would I pay to see?
Tatis, when he's healthy?
Maybe Vlad Jr.
I looked forward to seeing McGuire in '97 when I was in San Diego. I watched him take BP when he was roided up, and that was a spectacle.
I had a ticket.
Spectacle.
I went to the Fenway he was in line to hit the major league record, and I spent a ton of money to go to Fenway to see him, and he didn't hit it that night. I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I think Ohtani. If you could get both Ohtani, pitcher hitter Ohtani, in the same day, that'd be great.
Is there anybody else?
Really, I mean, I think Trout would be fun to see. I mean, just because he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, even now, if he left, he'd probably be a Hall of Famer, I would think. So, I mean, just to know you saw him play and just do something. But no, I mean, really, there's not that many people in Major League Baseball right now.
I've seen Scherzer pitch; it's impressive, but it doesn't.
But that goes back to what we were talking about. Do you want to see someone, like obviously Scherzer has an opportunity every time to go out there and throw a no hitter. But do you want to go there and just, he dominated? Yeah, I get to talk about it, but I just saw a guy just carve somebody. That's all I saw was strikeouts.
Well, that's exactly sort of was my point. There aren't many people that you're willing to extend. Like, you'll pay to see your team.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I was watching the Yankee game and they're in Toronto and. The attendance looked thin, right? And I was kind of like joking about it, but I just heard, I found out that the Maple Leafs were playing down the block, so that sucked a lot of the energy out of the stadium.
Because they've been drawing well this year. Actually, Matt Stroys and I, the producer of the morning show, that when we took cuts from the Yankees or the Red Sox, it sounds loud from the crowd, and they're averaging over $30,000 a game when the Maple Leafs aren't playing. All right, he's John Senecal. I'm Brian Shackman. This has been episode 74 of Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. We'll see you soon.